AskReddit by Planet Reddit. Tattoo artists of Reddit. What ideas have you said no to? Draw dolphin on my dong. He would probably say something like, suck on my blowhole. I imagine his dong would sound more like Not my story, but one I heard while getting a tattoo. Young kid comes in with his buddies. Wants a tattoo of a penis. Except it's that Indian elephant god with 6 arms. But he wants the god to be a penis with 6 penis arms. A penis trunk and a penis. Tattoo artist said he had a good chuckle and seriously considered doing it. Even so far as to start sketching it, but as soon as he'd start drawing he would either laugh or come to his senses. Eventually decided that he'd found the limit of his stupidity. I know girl who got a unicorn tattooed on her and the horn was a penis. To be completely specific, it was my ex's penis too. She brought stuff to these guys all time and hung out all the time wanting to be their friends, and they were always so mean to her and talked shit behind her back. I felt bad for her. Not a tattoo artist, but I witnessed this happen to my friend. We were 20-21 at the time, and she decided she wanted sex. In a huge graffiti script on her lower hip, right by her crotch. We went to this sketchy local shop, and the artist said that there's no way she wouldn't regret that. And even if she got it done by another shop in the area, she'd never be welcome in his shop again. But 5 years later I still silently thank that guy for saying no to that horrible idea. This dude wanted me to tattoo blackface on his face. I talked him out of it. I told him to try wearing blackface makeup for a while, and if he liked it he could come back. Never saw him again. You just didn't recognize him. He's black now. That's probably because he's dead now. My husband is a tattoo artist and said no to tattooing a Hershey kiss on the head of a man's penis. I squirm just thinking of the pain. Seriously. My non-existent wiener hurts. Was in a shop when a well-dressed man came in explaining how his idea kept getting rejected and asking if an artist here might do it. His idea? A nigger hanging from a tree. He was rejected and asked to leave. Yeah, no, I always wonder where my local skinheads get their swastikas and shit done. Like, do they have a specific guy they all go to, or did they just buy a needle and learn to do it themselves? I've seen Nazi tattoos that are pretty goddamn elaborate. Doesn't seem like a prison job. I asked a tattooist about this and was told that some shops do Nazi shit. But then you get the reputation for being the shop that does Nazi shit, meaning your clientele shift to that demographic. Otherwise it's mainly prison, gangs or kitchen wizards. A swastika isn't a hard design. But my friend has seen lots of cover-ups where the tattooist couldn't get it right after a couple of tries. So much for the master race. I was in a tattoo shop with a friend when a young couple walked in holding hands, looking all of 18 or so. They walked up to the counter where the huge guy running the shop was slowly paging through a magazine. Without looking up from his magazine or changing his expression, he muttered a disinterested, "Dot. Help you? Yeah." The girl says, "I want to get a tattoo on my lower back that says property of Buckley in all capital letters." A few seconds went by while shop guy gave zero reaction. Ever so slowly, he closed the magazine and set it on the counter. You could almost hear the gears grinding in his neck as he slowly swiveled his head to look at her. After a couple blinks, he turned his head to look at the guy. Up and down. Turning back to her and gesturing with a thumb. He asked, "And this winner right here? This is Buckley?" "Why yeah." She responded. He picked his magazine back up, flipped it open, went back to reading it, and said, "Yeah. We're not gonna do that. Have a nice night." That is hilarious. I have a similar story as a bystander. I was waiting for my artist to set up for my appointment when this sort of crusty, long-haired gentleman walks in. He's explaining proudly to the guy at the counter that he's sober and wants a sobriety tattoo to commemorate his achievement. The tattoo guy says, "That's awesome, man. How long have you been clean?" "Going on 6 days now," he replied. The guy behind the counter gave the most amused chuckle, then told him to come back in 6 months to a year and they'd talk about it. That was dongish of the guy to laugh at him. Everyone's got to start somewhere, and 6 days is still an achievement. One of my tattoo artists says he gets an awkward amount of requests for penis tattoos. He usually takes it as a joke, but he will quote them a super high price, which deterred them 99.99% of the time. The other 0.01%? A guy came in and wanted a dragon tattooed on his coke. Artist quoted him like $2 grand. Dude actually paid it and now has a dragon tattoo on his coke. Although my artist said that would be the first and last time he would ever do a penis tattoo. Not cause it's a penis. Just cause he said it was a beach to do. He still gives people ridiculously high quotes for them just for shits and giggles. Is this the Puff the Magic Dragon tattoo? That's some amazing work. I would link it. But I'm at work. The IT censors would have a shit hemorrhage if they check my history. IT censor sounds like the worst job ever. Hi. I'm here to make sure you have no fun whatsoever at your job. Not tattoo artist blah blah blah. A friend of mine had a guy come in who wanted an arrow pointing to his dong. Simple, right? Here's the kicker. He wanted the arrow labeled AIDS dispenser. If I were a tattoo artist, I would have done it so that way future partners of this guy would know what they are getting into. Not a tattoo artist, but rather just an overhearer of a conversation. Although I'm anticipating, hoping, she got a rejection from most places she tried. Harry Potter stuff's cool right now and I'm pretty into owls, so I'm gonna get a big duck off owl on my snatch. Like an owl face kitten with the wings down the inside of my legs. So when I spread my legs, beach looks like it's squawking. Girl on bus. Goddamn, this gave me a good chuckle. Now I'm going to be at work thinking of a squawking owl snatch and giggling like a madman. I recently went to a shop with a design I had been working on for about 5 years. I absolutely loved it. It was insanely intricate and very personalized to me. Got shot down immediately. Just shut right down. The artist then ran down an itemized list of reasons why my tattoo wouldn't work the way I wanted. It totally burst my bubble. However, then he worked with me for 1-2 hours figuring out how we could express the exact same thing in a different way which would look a lot better as a tattoo. Getting it next week. So much respect for tattoo artists. Can we see your original design and your current one? I don't do anything that won't heal well. Watercolor style tattoos. Specifically, pictures that people post to Instagram and Pinterest have just been done. They look like shit after they heal, and even worse 3 years later. I take pride in doing clean, well saturated but airy tattoos. Black color, or black and gray. And a little bit of skin for breathing room. There is a reason traditional Japanese tattooing has been around so long. It never ages. Wait. What? Why don't watercolor tattoos heal well? I have a watercolor moon on my arm and it's been there for almost 3 years and still looks great. Emo. Whether or not a watercolor style piece heals well has everything to do with how the artist approaches the piece. Most people who don't really know what they're doing in this style end up trying to wash, meaning to thin an ink with water, the ink into the skin in several light layers to mimic a literal watercolor effect, which ends up diluting the pigment and or causing too much trauma, leading to a poor heal. If, on the other hand, you have somebody who understands the actual color theory behind a solid watercolor piece, then they're going to approach it like any other color tattoo, mixing pigments at full strength, using darker colors as a foundation. This way the skin will be sufficiently saturated, with nice contrast, and minimal trauma, leading to no more color loss than any other style of tattooing. Source. I'm also a tattoo artist. In the middle of an entire day session I had blocked, I'm not the artist. A young fellow wandered into the shop out in the middle of BFE to ask for a simple, potentially temporary tattoo that shouldn't take too much time. Exit only, pointing to his a-hole. This, he explained, was part of a senior scavenger hunt and had the highest amount of point value. He wanted to know if we did tattoos that lasted a few weeks. We told him there's only the permanent kind here. He asked again how much it would cost, stating it's fine cause he's going in the army anyways. Not sure why that's related, but in a ho. My artist relented, making sure to bring up every reason why this is stupid before inking a crude set of black lines and a red arrow on his left cheek. Kid leaves and thanks us for the time, since he was technically barging in on my appointment. 3 more young men came asking for the same ass tattoo about an hour after he'd submitted his picture to their group chat. We denied the subsequent 3 and told them the location of another shop and ended up locking the front half and making it seem closed so we could continue my session uninterrupted. Fun night. Though. Lol, he's going into the army anyways. One of the first things you have to do when you get to basic training is show your instructor all your tattoos. I think his thought process was some sort of backwater this will prevent butt rape logic. While I was getting a tattoo, the artist told me this story of his. Guy comes literally running into the shop. Guy. Hey, I need a tattoo right now. The pigs are after me, it's gotta be now, I can pay for it. Artist. What can I do for you? Gee. I want duck the police across both of my knuckles. Yo, I'm not doing that mate, no way. Guy pauses and thinks for 10 seconds. Gee. Right, okay, how about a ganja leaf and a smiley face? Yo, okay, I can do that. How are you gonna fit that many letters on his knuckles? How many fingers does this guy have? He probably wanted duck cops. Not an artist. But covered with ink. My artist won't do Nazi shit. Face tats. Back of hand tats. Or tats that ensure you're ducked for life should you ever decide to take a job that withholds taxes. I come in for a tattoo appointment once a day and my artist is working on a swastika tattoo on this little wannabe skinhead looking dude. I knew the artist well. And we go out for a smoke after dude leaves. And I ask if tattooing that hateful shit bothers him. No, he says. And I'll tell you why. Because one day, in 20 years that racist Dumba's mother ducker is gonna be laying in bed and it'll hit him. He got that shit tattooed on him by a Mexican. And he sounded so proud to ruin this dude's future day. It still makes me laugh. But isn't that Aryan Brotherhood prison gang accepting Mexicans now? I remember reading a news story to that effect. Customer came in wanting tattoos on her face in the area an American football player would wear eye black. She had it all drawn out in her notebook from NA. The kicker is she wanted a series of symbols across both cheeks which included, but wasn't limited to, a swastika, a Star of David, Halley's Comet, the number 23, but the 2 needs to look like a Jewish person's nose and a bunch of other symbols, numbers and letters. She seemed high or otherwise not in her right mind also. We told her we didn't think it was a good idea to do it, at which point she offered to pay us in drugs and or sexual favors. Needless to say, she didn't get tattooed. Not the artist. But I was being tattooed by him when it happened. A woman came in and showed him a picture, asking if he could do it. He's like, nah, we don't do that here. And handed the photo back. Right away she raises her voice, asking what racial background he is. He was white. And he's like, it doesn't matter. We don't do that here. So she left. He told me it was some swastika design and added that you can only get that type of thing done in prison. Lol. I wish someone said no to this. Metro Co UK link. He's tattooed his name on 39 previous girlfriends. And he's only 23 years old. That guy is a possessive nutcase. Why would anyone date him? I love chickens. I'm not an artist, but from one. After American History X movie. I've never seen it though. Came out and became popular, there was an odd surge in people under 25 looking to get the swastika tattooed on their chest, much like a character from the movie. This was a no from him. I guess those people didn't see the movie either. I was watching American History X and I loved it so much I ran down here to get a tattoo before I could finish the movie. My artist refuses to do Gigallo tattoos on anyone. She finds the culture to be obnoxious and will tell you how stupid it is. She also won't do a neck unless you are completely out of room on your arms. I kind of agree with the neck tat viewpoint. I have over 30 with both arms almost covered. My calves both have full pieces. And a few on the sides of my legs and 0 neck, hand, or face tats. You should be able to cover them if need be, and most neck tats can be difficult to cover. On top of that, IDK if I've ever really seen any sort of classy neck tat. Usually trashy. One of my buddy's ex-girlfriends wanted doll face on her knuckles. No artist would do it because she had one small tattoo on her upper arm. One shop finally agreed. It wanted like $300, which I suppose was just to deter her. And it worked. I have an F hole, not even that big. and just an outline on each side of my neck. I wouldn't say it's classy, but it's pretty unoffensive. It did cost me a job at Jimmy John's when I was younger though. What kind of establishment puts out help wanted ads with rockstars wanted as the header, then tells you a musical related tattoo is a deal breaker? Not a tattoo artist. But this one time this guy said no to my Harry Potter themed tattoo because he believed this shit is satanic. Or something. It was just a cute golden snitch. Got it done somewhere else. Was it the Westboro Baptist tattoo shop? I have only refused 2 tattoos in the time I was tattooing. Both were for names of boyfriends. Nope. Will never tattoo a name on anyone. Ever. Edit. I will never tattoo the name of a person with whom the nature of the bearer of the tattoo's relationship will never change. What about for a deceased relative? A good rule of thumb for name tattoos is this person deceased? Will they be able to ruin the relationship I have with them, making me regret this tattoo? I was in a tattoo shop while a mate of mine was getting something done. I was just there to hang out I guess. They had loads of copies of the Chap magazine, which I like, so I was just reading away in the front of shop. Anyway, a couple walks in. Both probably about 18. They're not very intelligent. You can tell this from their general way of speaking. Anyway, the male nudges the girl to the counter and says, "What did you want to get?" And she says, "I'd like to get the name Ricky on my hand." Although she pronounced it Rikara, and the tattoo guy at the counter just basically says, "Do you have any other tattoos at all?" And she says no, and he just tells her, "Well, we don't usually do hands unless the client is very tattooed anyway, as it's such a visible spot." I think it was also due to it being a really stupid idea anyway though. This is a common one. I am not a tattoo artist but have several tattoos. And a tattoo artist X. I have heard many artists tell potential clients that they don't tattoo hands if the client has no tattoos. The one exception I've witnessed is an older lady, late 60s early 70s, who wanted a breast cancer ribbon after her recovery. The artist explained that hands were highly visible and recommended she get her wrist done instead so she could cover it if she wanted. She simply stated that she knew it would be visible and that's why she wanted it there. They came to an agreement after talking a while, and he realized she had put a lot of thought into placement and she had a list of reasons for the placement. She always wears long sleeves. She's retired. etc. Not me, not a tattoo artist. I do have several friends with Mayan calendar tattoos because they thought the world would end in 2012. Haha. Just an innocent butterfly on the penis. I had to say no because I couldn't find her penis anywhere. Then just draw one like everyone else. I've only been rejected once. When I was a teenager, my grandfather said the only way he'd accept me having tattoos was if I got one on the bottom of my foot. Cause he knew a guy who got one there and apparently it was the worst spot to get it. He said that way he'd know I was committed to having them if I was willing to go for it. I'm sure he never expected me to go through with it. By the time I was old enough to get a tattoo, my grandfather had passed away. I went to a tattoo artist asking for it, and he turned me down, telling me what I already knew. No, because it would fade quickly and it's basically a waste of money. A couple years later I asked my tattoo artist, who had already done a few on me, whether he would do it. He agreed. And yes, it faded. I took a photo of it when it was new to remember what it looked like. And I spent 10 days walking on the ball of my foot until it healed. And I've never regretted it. The artist claimed she asked for it. She's from my hometown and not very bright. Young Belgian woman finally has 56 star tattoos removed from her face after 4-year ordeal. Read more. Daily Mail Co UK link X4OG1X1BL. She's from my hometown and not very bright. The tattoo artist or the Starface girl? Both. And he did it again to his girlfriend. Daily Mail Co UK link. I used to think really backwards and was a huge dumbass. But I wanted a tattoo that said skin up the inside of calf in Old English. Went to a CD artist in town to get it done. He charged me like $100 and did it pretty quick. The tattoo itself is done pretty well. He had good penmanship. But the letters don't spell out skin. More like SRJN. Close enough that I just went with it for years until people started asking me what it meant. What's SRJN? I just don't tell anyone the original concept. Except 2 people. You're the only ones I trust to keep my secret. Obligatory not an artist comment. But I asked my artist this once and she said she refused to do an infinity symbol made up of the customer's children's names. In white ink. By the tone of her voice, it sounded like it was the 100th time she'd been asked to do that. The infinity symbol in white ink has to be the most ironic tattoo ever. Relevant WKUK. Here is a photo of someone with the tattoo described in that video. That's pretty duckin' rad. A goldfish's mouth on my butthole so every time I poop it looked like it was gulping. Artist sadly said no. Dot. How many people did you expect to see your goldfish gulp? Exactly? I wanted a realistic tattoo over my entire body of me. But 5 inches taller. A man asked me to do a swastika with duck juice on the bottom. I gave him a blank stare and told him to get out of my store. I had to go to about 10 different shops to find someone who would tattoo my dong. It is a very small tattoo. A couple places just said no. Others said a couple grand. Then finally found an artist that did it for $100 because he wanted to add it to his resume. Of course it's a very small tattoo if it's on your dong. A friend of mine is a tattoo artist and has refused to do a tattoo on her husband that I honestly wish someone would do. He wanted the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse but he wanted them as Care Bears on My Little Ponies. It sounds so cute. That actually sounds pretty cool. I knew someone who had rape meat tattooed across his abdomen. Shortly afterwards he changed it to grape meat. Grape meat best meat. Thanks for watching. Subscribe for 3 videos a day.